5 things. 5 features that have been standard on laptops for as long as most of us have been using them. All 5 are on the way out. These are documented industry shifts already in motion, already affecting laptops on shelves right now. Let us get into it. Chapter 1. The charger in the box. Start with the easy one, the charger. You buy a laptop, you open the box. You expect a power brick to be in there. That expectation is on the way out. In 2022, the European Union passed the Common Charger Directive, legislation originally aimed at phones that has now expanded to laptops. The law requires manufacturers selling in the EU to offer a version of the laptop without a power adapter included. The reasoning is environmental. Billions of chargers in drawers around the world, most never used. Dell and Apple have already started shipping unbundled laptops in European markets. Here is the part that affects you even if you do not live in Europe. Manufacturers hate region-specific packaging. Producing 2 versions of the same product costs more, complicates the supply chain, creates inventory headaches. The simpler solution is to remove the charger globally and call it a sustainability decision. This is exactly what happened with phones. Apple removed the charger from the iPhone box in 2020, framed it as environmental, and the rest of the industry followed within 2 years. Laptops are next, and the saved cost is not getting passed on to you. Chapter 2. USB-A ports. The rectangular USB port, the one in every printer, every wireless mouse dongle, every thumb drive for 20 years. It is disappearing. And this one is not about marketing, it is about physics. A standard USB-A port requires a chassis height of at least 4.5 millimeters to physically fit inside the laptop. Modern ultra-portables are tapering down to total thicknesses under 11 millimeters, sometimes thinner. The port simply does not fit anymore. There is no engineering trick that puts a 4.5 millimeter port into an 8 millimeter chassis. Look at the Dell XPS 13, the MacBook Air, the Asus ZenBook S series. USB-A is already gone from these machines. Not declining, gone. Which sounds fine in principle, until you realize you probably own 3 or 4 devices that still use it. Your wireless mouse, the external drive in the drawer, the thumb drive your colleague handed you last week. All of those still function perfectly. They just cannot connect to your new laptop without an adapter sitting between them and the machine. The industry calls this progress. Your accessories call it forced retirement. Chapter 3. The headphone jack. The 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. The most universally compatible audio standard in consumer electronics history, disappearing from laptops on the same trajectory it followed on phones. Manufacturers point to 2 reasons. The space inside the chassis can go toward more battery, and modern users have moved to wireless audio anyway. Both are partially true. Neither is the real reason. The real reason is ecosystem lock-in. Wireless earbuds, AirPods, Galaxy Buds, Pixel Buds are some of the highest margin accessories in consumer electronics. Removing the analog port directly funnels users toward buying wireless audio from the same company that made their laptop. The environmental cost, billions of batteries in disposable earbuds with 3-year lifespans, is conveniently left out of the conversation. And the practical cost lands on you. Your wireless earbuds die in the middle of a meeting, and you cannot plug in a backup wired pair because there is nowhere to plug them in. Audio latency creates lag during video editing. A fragile USB-C adapter becomes the only fallback, and you lose it within a week. The jack worked perfectly. It cost almost nothing. It is being removed because removing it makes more money. Chapter 4. Soldered RAM. This is where the list stops feeling like a list and starts feeling like a warning. For decades, the deal with laptops was simple. If your machine got slow, you opened the back, slid out the old RAM, slid in new RAM, and added years of life to the machine for $30. That is over. In nearly every premium thin and light laptop being sold today, RAM is no longer in slots. It is soldered directly to the motherboard. Permanent, unremovable, fixed at the configuration you bought for the entire life of the machine. Manufacturers justify this technically. Modern LPDDR R5X memory needs to sit extremely close to the processor to hit the power efficiency and transfer speeds thin laptops require. On the technical side, the justification has merit. What manufacturers do not say out loud is what soldered RAM does to the economics of buying a laptop. When RAM is permanent, the configuration you buy is the configuration you live with forever, which means manufacturers can charge whatever they want for memory upgrades at the point of purchase because you have no alternative. Want 16 gigabytes instead of 8? $200 more. Want 32? Another $400. Once you click buy, those numbers are baked in permanently, and it gets worse. If a single memory chip fails after the warranty expires, the entire machine becomes electronic waste. Not a $30 repair, a motherboard replacement that often costs more than buying a new laptop. Soldered RAM did not just kill upgrades, it killed the laptop's ability to outlive its original specification. Chapter 5. The local file system. The last one is the strangest, because it is not about something being physically removed. It is about something being quietly redefined. For most of computing history, the deal was clear. Your files lived on your machine. You opened the C drive on Windows, or the equivalent on Mac, navigated folders, organized your work, and knew exactly where everything was. The local file system was the foundation of personal computing. Your stuff, your machine, your control. That foundation is being dismantled. Microsoft is doing it most aggressively. Set up a fresh install of Windows 11 today, and OneDrive is enabled by default. Your desktop folder, your documents folder, your pictures folder, all silently redirected to the cloud unless you specifically opt out. If you run out of cloud storage, your local desktop starts throwing error messages, as if the laptop you bought outright requires Microsoft's permission to function properly. Apple is doing it more subtly through iCloud. Google built its entire OS philosophy around it with Chrome OS, where the local file system barely exists at all. Here's the part that makes this an actual paradigm shift. Younger users, students who grew up on phones and tablets, increasingly do not understand the concept of a file directory at all. University professors have widely documented this. Incoming students often cannot find a saved file because the idea of a folder structure on a local drive is not something they have ever engaged with. They save into apps. They search by name. The concept of where a file lives on a physical machine has no meaning to them. So operating systems are evolving to match. App-centric, cloud-first, subscription-tied. The idea that you own your files, that they live on your machine, that they exist independent of any service, that idea is being phased out of the design. This is not about losing the ability to store files. It is about losing ownership. Moving from a model where you own your data to a model where you rent access to it through services that can change pricing, change features, or disappear entirely. And this is the pattern behind every single one of these removals. Convenience for the manufacturer, dressed up as progress for you. Quiet, profitable, and accelerating. What is coming next is bigger than any single feature being removed. The laptops being sold today are a transition product. The next generation will look the same on the outside and feel completely different the moment you try to use them. If you want the clearest example of this same pattern playing out right now in a category sold as the future of computing, I broke down the AI PC, the hardware most people never use, and the features that do not deliver what the marketing promised. That one is next.